The truth about cleaning, what? Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today inside of the shop we have this 2021 Mercedes A220. Instead of just doing one door, we're going to be doing the whole driver's side of the vehicle. On the back door, we are applying Lumar's IRX 5% window tint, and on the front door, we're doing Lumar's IRX 30% window tint. That is the darkest legally we can go in the state of Texas, so let's go ahead and get started. Actually, real quick before we do get started, we're going to be doing two different installation techniques. On this back door here, we left the bottom gasket in, so we're going to be doing the two-stage method. On the front door, we removed the bottom gasket, so we're going to be doing the bottom loading technique. So now we can go ahead and get started. A quick tip that might help you out with any contamination of the window tint. On these Mercedes, the side panels or the side rubbers, they often come felt. So what we do is we just take painter's tape and we tape the edges. As you can see, we just have painter's tape going along top to the bottom, cover as much as you can. You don't really need to worry about the top edge too much because the film's already stuck to the window when you roll it up. So that's why we only tape the side edges. At the start of the video, I did mention we're doing two different installation techniques. So what we're going to do for this back window to prep it on the outside is we are going to shrink it with our hard card and heat gun. So we always like to work with a clean surface area. We'll squeegee that off, we'll grab our window tint, place it on the outside. These patterns are computer cut. We use the Lumar Core program with a GraphTech plotter. We'll work all these fingers down to the bottom. We'll grab our hard card, our heat gun, and we'll begin to shrink the window tint. The heat gun that you see myself using here is the Fusion Max Flux heat gun. You can get this heat gun at FusionTintTools.com. We order a lot of our tools from Fusion. They have a great team over there. So if you haven't already, be sure you go check out Fusion Tint Tools. That's all the prep work we're going to do for this vehicle on the outside right now. We're going to come on the inside. We're going to work on the quarter first. We're going to spray it down, take my scrubby, and be sure we scrape every little inch of this window. Once I'm comfortable that I've scrubbed it enough and gotten all the dirt off of it, we're going to take our towel and wipe the edges a couple times because there's going to be dirt that's sitting on the edge. Spray it back down and squeegee off all this dirty soapy water. And then once we do that, we'll grab our film, which I just have it sitting right here, our quarter pattern. Missed the middle of the window. You don't want to spray it on the top edge because it's going to suck dirt back into the middle of the window, and then your quarter pattern is going to be dirty. I'm going to apply the bottom first and then work my way up to the top, just like that. I'm going to make sure I don't have any daylight around the window. And then once I've checked that, I'm going to squeegee out the clean soapy water, grab the same little pink squeegee. I'm going to hold the pattern with my thumb to make sure it doesn't move as I squeegee, just like this. Which it's not. I like to squeegee inside the dots first because that typically will hold the window tint in place. So I try to hit the dots all the way around, then I come down to the little bug right here and hit that. These are the first windows I started doing when I started to learn window tint. It's really basic. Some are harder than others, like on older Corollas or Camrys. On those vehicles, you have to pull back a little piece of the panel or a little bit of the rubber. So those are difficult a little bit. But this is about as simple as it can get. I'm trying to do a little bit more of like a live tutorial rather than just like adding music over what I'm doing. I'm gonna try to walk you through it. So same thing we did to this window. Obviously this is a much bigger window. We're gonna roll it down just about a quarter of the way. We're gonna scrub it with my scrub pad and my slip solution. It's just baby shampoo and water. That's all there is to it, nothing special. Make sure we have the whole window scrubbed. Roll it back down just a little bit. And our top edge is always going to hold dirt no matter if it's a new vehicle like this. So we take our towel and we always like to wipe down that top edge. That's all the prep work I'm doing to the inside. Now we're going to grab our orange crush squeegee, squeegee off the clean soapy water, grab our swiper, make sure all that dirt and soap is being pushed down to the bottom so it won't be in the window tint. Spray down the window, missed the middle. Now we're going to grab our window tint and apply it on the inside. It is important during this part that you have a lot of slip solution on the window. I like to slide my front edge in first and then work on the back edge. Now, like I said before, this is the two-stage method. This is obviously the first stage of it. Make sure our top edge is as close as possible. And once the film is in position, we're going to squeegee out the soapy water. We're going to go over it a couple times just to be sure I'm not leaving any water bubbles behind. So once we have that, spray it back down, squeegee it a second time. And then the same swiper tool you saw me work with earlier, we're going to use that tool again and swipe our edges. So you can swipe up or down. As you can see, as I do that, the film moved a little bit. So I'm going to hold it with my hand and make sure I'm getting all the water out of the edges. Realign our top edge again. Now we're going to grab our torch, put a little bit of heat on the outside. That way when we roll the window up, it's not going to peel or bump back down a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, I know I've talked about the torch before, but it is always important that you have your full focus on what you're doing, especially when you're torching. As I begin to torch, I'm always going to point the flame away from the rubber or any paint that's on the sides, top, or the bottom. We'll get to the bottom, obviously, when we do the second stage. But I'm just going to begin to torch. I'm not going to put a lot of heat, just enough to activate the adhesive. A lot of people wonder what this does. Like I said just now, this activates the adhesive. It also speeds up the drying process. And you always want to keep the torch moving. If you leave it in one area, you could very easily melt the window tint and have to redo the door. I still believe this is the hardest part when tinting windows, is this secondary stage or the second stage of the two-stage method. It's important. I don't want to spray my camera, so I'm trying to be a little careful here. It's important you have a lot of soapy water, okay? It's not going to ruin any electronics inside of the window because it is filtered down through the bottom. But you want to be sure you have a lot of soapy water because you need the film to slide, as you can kind of see it doing here. And you always want to take your time, especially when doing this. I'm really trying to focus because this is usually, if I mess up, where I mess up. Like I said, this is going to be pure unfiltered video. So once we have the film down below the gasket, like we do now, we're going to squeegee out this soapy water with the same tools, FusionTintTools.com. Take the same swiper we were using earlier, and then be sure all that water is being pushed out of the sides and the bottom. For the most part, this door is done. There are a couple things we have to do to touch it up. If I open the door, you'll see I have my hard cards and my triangle tool in the door with a paper towel. Because of the two-stage method, there are little creases there. So those tools are getting the creases to lay down. And then with our torch, it's going to activate the adhesive. That way they won't pop up in the future. Now this is where it's very important that you point the flame away from the trim, the bottom rubber, paint, anything. Now that the back door is done, we're going to work on the driver front door. We already have our Lumar legal sticker right here, right above the bug. We're going to go ahead and prep the inside for it. The camera has to be a little far back because I have to work a little quicker. Because we're doing this in one stage, we're going to turn the key back on because it's off. And this is the exact same prep technique as we did on the back. So we take our scrubby, spray it down with our slip solution, scrub the inside of the vehicle like this, making sure all glue and dirt is knocked off. Once we do that, roll it down, same as the back, wipe down our top edge, squeegee off the dirty soapy water, and apply the window tint. No matter how new the car is, the top edge will always hold dirt, so it's very important. As you can see, this was just off of the top edge. It's very important that you wipe down that edge. So, and I know on the back I said it's important that you have a lot of slip solution. On this window, it's going to be even more important because you have to slide the window tint down to the bottom, as you'll see here in a second. So we're going to squeegee all this off. Spray all of our slip solution down inside of the window so the window tint will slide. Peel the protective liner. And the first part I'm going to place on the window is my bottom front edge. Once that's in, I'm going to slide it down, work on my back bottom edge, slide that down, and then work on my back edge. Now these go back quite a bit, and it pinches a little bit in that corner, so you can always push out on the window, allowing the glass and rubber to separate a little bit. Check outside, make sure we don't have anything showing. Looks like it's good, set in place. Top edge is very small. Squeegee out the clean soapy water. And sometimes, like I said, it will pinch up in this corner, so you have to be careful. You have to be careful and make sure you don't crease it, like I almost just did. I almost just ruined this whole video. All right, cool. Take our swiper. We're actually going to come on the outside first and double check, just to make sure everything is where it needs to be. Push out some water. On these Mercedes, especially this top corner right here, it's very, very tight. So my corner tool is still in this door. Drop the paper towel on the ground. And we're going to push out all the soapy water that's up there, just to make sure that it dries before we roll it up. All right. Cool. We're going to grab our torch. We're going to keep it moving as we begin to torch. Pointing it away from any paint. You need to be careful on these cars. This front edge, it actually doesn't have a rubber protecting the paint. It's actually just straight paint. So it's very, very important. Everything's important when it comes to a torch, but it's extremely important you don't torch that, because it will turn that paint into basically trash. So very, extremely important. We'll emphasize that a little bit more. The top edge was tacked. Everything was good to go on that. Now it's real simple. This, I guess you could say, second stage of the bottom loading method is really simple. Everything's already on the glass, so all you have to do is grab your squeegee and push all the water out. The reason you don't need to shrink these is because there's no rubber or there's no gasket holding the water down at the bottom of the window tint, causing it to finger once the customer leaves. So it's already dry for the most part. Dry off this door panel, and then we don't need to put our tools and paper towels in the edges because there's no creases, because we didn't fold the film right there. Now when I go to torch the bottom half of the window, I'm not even going to torch the front edge because I'm too, I don't want to say nervous or scared, but it's a little too close to the painted mirror and the painted front edge, so I'm going to totally avoid that. I'm just going to torch the bottom and the back edge. Should I push these bubbles out? Probably. Besides torching the window, there's not a lot else we need to do to this one besides put the rubber back in. Like I said, there's no creases and there's no anything that we need to do, so we just torch the bottom. We'll clean it up. We'll go ahead and get it out of here. The truth about cleaning your windows, some people say don't use Windex, use an ammonia-free glass cleaner or alcohol-based glass cleaner. That's what I have in my hand. It is an alcohol-based glass cleaner, as you see here. Now, if you're a detailer or you clean your car every single day, definitely recommend this. Now, if you're more like me, you wash your car maybe once every month, whatever it is, Windex isn't going to hurt it every now and then. Now, if you clean your car, I would always recommend you use an alcohol-based glass cleaner, but a couple times Windex won't hurt it. The only thing we have left to do on this vehicle is clean it up. This is the final product. This is what it looks like. It's not going to get any darker. It's not going to get any lighter. The only thing the customer will notice is some water bubble and streaks. That's always normal, especially with window tint, because there is still a thin layer of water in between the tint and the glass. So it takes a couple days for that to dry out. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to leave a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also go follow us on TikTok at Glacier Window Tinting or Instagram at Glacier Tinting. I will see all of y'all next Friday, 2 p.m. Central.